Hello and welcome to the Knit Girls. This is episode 709. I'm Laura, also known as Lala.
I am Leslie, also known as You Don't Call Me Les, and today is Tuesday, September 2nd, 2025. Have to think about that for a second. Laura and I both use the she, her pronouns, and it's Wisconsin Sheep and Wool Week.
It is. I'm so
So,
excited. I hope we see lots of fun people there and I get to see you.
yeah, I will be there. I'll be there on Friday and almost certainly unless something catastrophic comes up, I'll be there on Saturday as well. So, um, I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to get to see a lot of people I haven't seen in a long time, including Laura, even though I have seen Laura, but still, not nearly as often as I used to. So it'll be good.
Yeah,
Um, I have zero knitting this week. I have some crochet, but
cool.
no knitting. So would you like to go first or would you like me to?
I can. I have two things in progress that are actively being worked on. Although now I can't remember if I worked on the other one. I'm sure I did. Okay. So, I am still working on my socks. I am almost at the point where I can turn the heel. These are some nomadic yarns. I hope we get to see her at Wisconsin. We got to see her last year and she's super fun.
She
Uh,
wasn't vending. She was just
no,
like an attendee.
yeah. She lives in the Chicago area. So I'm knitting these on size 0 needles. I am using Wendy Johnson's taupe with gusset. So, yeah, almost there. Um, it's at a weird point because, like, this is the second one. I'm about to turn the heel, and then I have 4 inches and it's done. But I'm like, do I take more yarn with me to Wisconsin? I'm gonna take baby pants because
Hmm.
I I have a baby shower on the 10th that I need to knit for that I'm hosting. But so I'm definitely taking some nomadic yarns to knit the Tin Can Knits Rocky pattern, but I don't know if I should bring more sock yarn, and I really don't want to start a new sock if it's not hand spun. So I gotta sort some things out. I might take my foot pass socks and work on
Hmm.
those. Um and just take a picture of the pattern with my phone so that I have it with me.
Yeah.
Because it's in a magazine, so it's a little bit larger. Although I have it written
Yeah, I was
on
going
my
to say
Google
you
Drive.
wrote that, so I'm sure you have it in digital form.
I do somewhere, but yeah, so I'm knitting on these and maybe I'll get these done. Hopefully I'll get these done. I feel like I am not progressing forward on a lot of my crafting lately, but that's okay. And then the other thing that I have on the needles is the Look at My Holes. This is out of Kelborn Woolens. It is a James Watts pattern. It is in an awkward place right now. There we go. Um, it is not really social knitting because I really have to pay attention to the decrease. It's like a special decrease and a
Hmm.
double yarn over. So I really have to pay attention to that. But yeah, it also helps if I have the right side facing me. There we go. Um, but yeah, so that is still in progress. I'm pretty sure I knit a little bit on this, but nothing substantial. I've been mostly this past weekend, I did a lot of cleaning because my parents are coming um tomorrow at 3. So by the time I get home from work tomorrow, they will be here. So tonight is all about cleaning bathrooms and stuff like that. That and doing laundry. So, but also I was working on a magazine article for Ply, so I had a lot of samples to get done for that. So, lots of
How's that
stuff
going?
that I can't show. The samples are all done.
Okay.
I ended up doing 3 different fibers, so CVM, Cordale, and Cheviot. I lock popped around 2 ounces, ran that through the drum carder each separately, and then spun those long draw into 2 plies for the samples that I needed. So samples are done. Writing is in progress. I was just telling Leslie before we got started, I think I'm going to take my laptop with me to Wisconsin, not to work while I'm there, but on the plane ride there, I'll
Hmm.
probably, because it's like a 2 hour flight from Memphis to Chicago, um, like an hour and a half probably actually of being able to
But you'll
work.
have
So
time sitting in the airport and
yeah, well, on the way there, I get there at 5 a.m.
oh,
So, because our flight leaves at 6, I think.
right, right.
So I will not be cognizant enough to write then, but definitely on the way back. Um, because I'm flying back at like 5 p.m. on Sunday. So yeah, those are the two things that I actively worked on this weekend besides a little finished object I got going on. But what did you work on this past week? You've been crocheting, right?
I have. So I'm working through SSK Stash, and this was yarn that I got at House of Yarn. So um, I didn't buy it at the event SSK, but I bought it that week, so I'm including it. And it is a pattern called the Anaya Blouse, and it's by Talia Crochet Creations, I believe. Yeah. So this is the designer, Natalia McHale, and this is the pattern. So it's
So
sort of
cute.
a cropped-ish, slouchy, uh, fitted um, cardigan. And I have finished the body, but not the ribbing. So
Cute.
yeah, so I have just started the ribbing and it's done sideways.
Oh,
So it's
interesting.
like an applied sort
Yeah.
of edge. And then I'll do sleeves and the neckband. So
Are you gonna
yeah,
look for buttons at Wisconsin?
absolutely. Since
Nice.
the button lady will be there.
Dusties, vintage buttons. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've been working on that. Um, and I've got a finished thing that is actually crochet as well.
They're cool.
Um, if I can find it. There we go. Are you ready?
Yes. Oh, I saw you bought that pattern.
Yeah.
Cute.
So it's a little um spring court. So the pattern is spring court chicken, I think. Um, Granny square chicken is what it's called, but it uses the particular type of granny square is called the spring court, or that's what this particular designer is calling it anyway. Um, Everything we talk about is linked in our show notes, and our show notes are on our website, which is TheKnitGirlls with 3Ls.com. So I've linked the pattern there, but it's a 5 color granny square,
It's cute. What yarn did you use?
a bunch of acrylic that I had, Stylecraft DK.
Nice.
It's the acrylic that I really like using for blankets.
Yeah, you were
Um,
doing a temperature blanket out of that.
mm-hmm. Um, but yeah, it's just 2 squares and you seam 3 sides and then you flatten the other side and seam it. And you do
Very cute.
a little tail and a little
Beak.
beak and safety eyes and a little comb at the top. So
Very cute.
yeah, we have a um, getaway thing that we do in October where there's like somewhere between 8 and 10 of us, and sometimes people bring little gifts for other people. So I thought I would make some of these and just let people pick which one they liked
Very
because I have
nice.
lots of colors. So, and it doesn't take very much. But yeah, that's most of the crafting that I've been doing this week. And all of the yarn related stuff has been crochet. So,
You were working on quilt stuff on Sunday during our
I
Patreon.
was. Mm-hmm. Yep. That was that was all cutting. So, once I start assembling it, I'll show folks what I was working on. But you have a tiny finished object.
Yes. So, Sarah Shira posted a pattern in her Patreon for her Patreon folks, and I knit him up. So he's super cute. I did this in like an hour and a half during our
Mm-hmm.
Patreon event. So all my gnomes have had hand spun, and this one is 100% hand spun. So a
Oh.
wee little bit of green that was Lorna's laces way back in the day. Some of my first hand spun that I ever made. And then some Coopworth from some locks that I spun from Maggie Casey. And some of my blanket project from behind me. So yeah, he is super cute, and he is joining the gnome army, which is now 8 strong. Um, because I've been knitting a handspun gnome every month this year, and I've just been really enjoying it. So he can join his little friends. He's not the tiniest gnome that I've knit, though. The tiniest gnome is this little dude. So I don't know where his beard is that I stitched on. I might need to knit him a little beard. But yeah, so teeny tiny. Um, really enjoyed it, really enjoyed the process. So, yeah, looking forward to making a gnome this month. And then also I decided when I finished my spinning for the magazine article to reward myself. So I started spinning some fun stuff for me. So this is Wee Chickadee in the Wild Miles colorway, and it will be a 3-ply. It is 100% Polworth wool, and I love her stuff. The fiber looks like this. So I have the first third done, and so this is kind of like my reward for getting the spinning and finishing work for the article done.
Mm-hmm.
So I was super excited to start something just like a palette cleanser type thing. Um, so yeah, that is what I have been doing. Um, what have you been reading?
So before I get into that, I visited a couple of local quilt shops this past weekend, and one of the things, sorry for the crinkling, one of the things that I got was the pattern for
Ooh,
this.
pretty.
Um, the company is called Legit Kits, and it's legitkits.com.
They do
And
a lot of paper piecing, right?
yes, so this
Yeah.
is all foundation paper piece. This is how thick the papers, like that's how many individual pages worth of paper piecing you have to
So
do.
those you cut out.
No, no. So you have, here, let me just grab the first one here and show you. So you have a piece of paper, and each bit of information is relevant. This is a particular color, this is a different color, this is a different color. And so you sort of overlap them, but you have to think about it backwards and upside down. And sew along the lines and then sort of turn it out and then cut off extra. And it's not the most economical use of fabric. Like there is a significant amount of waste. And if you do it wrong, like I do at least once, then there's even more waste. And for something like this, where it's a color spectrum, um, substituting out colors gets a little more difficult. They have lots of different uh, patterns. There's one that I really want on their website that is an octopus. It's called the Kraken.
Yeah.
But so that pattern was $55, and
Oh,
that,
wow.
yeah. And that's
And
because there's
people
so many,
complain about knitting
right?
fabric cost. Yeah.
But that's because like there's so much engineering that goes into making it come out the way that it does. And so like you get a piece of paper for each, each square, and then you put everything together. But anyway, that doesn't include the fabrics. You can get a kit with all of those things, all of the fabrics included. Let me take a look and see, what is this one called? Vortex. Let me just take a look and
How
see how
much of
much it would
each
be.
color do you use? How big is this
So
going to be?
bits, right? So this comes out to be 60 by 80.
Okay.
Um, if I bought, so if you are a quilter or sewer with like a healthy stash, you probably have at least a third of these because they're like common Kona colors, Kona cotton colors. So and if you're confident with like changing the colors, you could potentially stash dive all of it, right?
Yeah, you could do like pastel rainbow instead, or yeah.
Right. Um, I do not have a healthy fabric stash, at least when it comes to like solids and quilting cotton. I hate making decisions. So making the decision about how to change, like how to substitute 74 colors is more than I am prepared to take on. So if I had bought the kit from legitkits.com with all of the fabric that I would need, it would be over $400.
Uh, Is it just like
Um,
fat quarters?
I don't know how much you get of each color. It doesn't, and maybe someone who has, um, it just says the different shades of the Kona cotton solids.
Well, we're going to Hancock's in October.
Yeah, it would take, if I went to somewhere and had to stand there while they cut all that out, they might
Well,
stab me in the
I would
face.
think that you would do fat quarters that were pre-cut.
Right. Ideally, yes. But again, it depends on whether or not they have that, if a quilt shop is going to carry, solids, are they going to carry all 8 versions of orange that I need? Or are they only
Yeah.
going to have like two, right? So, um, I priced out, I went and looked and added, I had to go to 3 different places online. I haven't bought anything yet. I've just put it in carts. But even getting like the minimum cut that I can get, which depending on where I buy from, it's like either a fat quarter or a regular quarter yard is the minimum. Most places it's a half yard or more. Um, it's gonna cost me like $250 to get the fabric, plus the $50 of the pattern. So this is gonna be a $300 quilt before I do any of the binding or the backing. Um, but it's really pretty and it's one of the easier versions of their kits. So I don't know. Um,
Well, like I said, we'll be at Hancock's, which is like one of the largest fabric stores in October. So maybe
yeah,
they'll have fat quarters there and you can at least get some of it. I would
yeah,
take a checklist of every single color that you need.
yeah. They do provide that. Like they provide it in a couple of different formats, but they do provide you with like a checklist of the color code and the number that Kona uses to reference it and how they reference it in theirs as well. So,
Yeah. I would
um,
think if any one store had all of them, it would be Hancock's.
I will have to take a look.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the thing that I'm working on. Or mostly I just took the instructions out of the package and looked them over. As far as what I'm reading, let me go back to the show notes that I moved because I am a terrible planner. Um, so I finished a couple of things this week. I finished listening to Piranesi by Susanna Clark, which you looked up and said it was magical realism, which totally makes sense. Um, I was not impressed. It is the same lady who wrote um, Jonathan Strange and Mr. Norrell, which I read like 15 years ago and liked, but it was a very, like, I read the paper copy of the book. I remember checking it out from the library, and it was like super, like, Stephen King's The Stand. thick. It was a really thick book.
Like that
Um,
reference.
um, so I was underwhelmed by it. Um, and I finished reading the new T. Kingfisher book, Hemlock and Silver, which was a fantasy. Sort of a different take on Snow White, kind of, where the main protagonist was a healer who focused on poisons. And like a lot of T. Kingfisher's novels, the protagonist is like a middle-aged woman, or like young middle-aged woman. And so I find it easier to like identify or put myself in the story. So I liked it. It was good. And I just started a couple nights ago reading Babel by R.F. Kuang. Kuang, I'm sorry if I said that wrong. It's a fantasy science fiction, and it's set in like 1830s Oxford, and it's about
Oh,
the translators. Anyway, and I started listening to a book that Kobe, my son, recommended, the Murderbot series.
oh yeah.
Um, so I just started the first one called All Systems Red, and it's by Martha Wells, and it's like a humorous science fiction. So, like I mentioned, all this stuff is linked in our show notes, and our show notes are on our website, and that's the Knit Girls with three L's. What about you? What have you been listening to, or reading, or
I'm
watching?
still doing the same. I'm reading How to Solve Your Murder, which is an audiobook that I'm actually listening to, and then I am still watching The Great British Sewing Bee. I am obsessed with a sweater that the host wore in Kids Week, and I am going to think about that nonstop, apparently. It's going to live in my head rent free. I sent Leslie a picture. It is just a yoked sweater. It's a three-color yoke, but the last section of the yoke is blocks of color.
It's like
Um,
Intarsia.
yeah, I think you could do it Fair Isle because it's like an inch, it looks like. So you could just carry it.
Yeah.
But because I'm an adult who knows not to stick my fingers through floats. I say that now. But I'm sure my microphone for work will get stuck on one of those floats if I do it at some point. Um, but yeah, obsessed with that. And then watching Sister Boniface, which has been releasing one episode a week on BritBox. And then football season started this past week
Mm,
with college football. So I watched a little bit of college football this past weekend, and then NFL returns next weekend. So yeah, I'm sure we'll watch Thursday night's game in the house if it's. I'll have to look at the Packers schedule because a lot of the people who stay in the house are big football Packers fans.
yeah.
And last year they played the Eagles on Thursday night, so I got to root for my former student.
Nicobe. Yeah.
Yep. He had a great interview last week. It was really good about leadership and what makes a leader. And it
Oh.
was really, really awesome. Like one of the reasons, so he went to Georgia, but he didn't commit to like one of the last days that you could commit. And the reason why he did that was he was getting scouted by all these major schools, but a lot of the other people who played with him might not have gotten scouted on their own. Like scouts just don't come to Horn Lake, Mississippi.
Mm-hmm.
So he put off committing so that as many scouts would come to Horn Lake as possible, not necessarily like they were looking at him, but also he wanted his teammates to have the opportunity to also get football scholarships. So like little things like that. And I thought it was really cool and really
Yeah.
interesting. So I also read that and watch the accompanying video. But yeah, and then I did some work on my website. I added all my articles. I've written 15 articles for Apply. So now they're all linked on my website, which is pretty cool. So that
Super
was something
fancy.
else that I worked on this weekend. Some data entry. But yeah, that is about it for me. Stash Dash ended. So that is cool. It seems like a lot of people made their goal, and that was hosted in our Discord, which you can also find the link to on our show notes at theknitgirls with 3ls.com. It's a fun group of folks, and we always appreciate our Discord members, but also our Patreons who help support the podcast. So thank you
Yes.
everyone who does Patreon. This coming month, our fail along is going to be an old whips fail along. So bring your old whips and we'll discuss why they have not moved on in their journey towards completion.
Yeah, maybe you
Spoiler,
just need
mine are at the
someone to
same
tell.
point.
Yeah, maybe you just need someone to tell you some trick to improve one particular part of it that you don't like, or maybe you just need somebody to tell you it's okay to rip it out. Like,
Yeah,
you know, whatever the need. Maybe you just need someone to tell you how pretty it's going to be when it's done. You never know.
absolutely. So I
Um,
think that is it for me. Do you have
yeah,
anything
same for
else?
me. Nope, I'm just going to be crocheting along. I'll probably will not take this to Wisconsin Sheep and Wool because I sort of have to
Hopefully
pay
you'll get
attention
it
to
done.
it.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Like an applied edge, it takes forever, right? And I got about this far last night and ripped it out because I had done it wrong for the first few inches and it was like weird and wavy, so I had to rip it
Yeah,
out.
well, you
But
got it now. It looks
um
good.
yeah, so but I'll probably bring something that I can knit on to. I've got the shake rag top, which is just knit
Round
around and
and round and
around
round.
until you're ready to
Yeah.
die. Yeah. So
Well,
yeah, that's
very
probably
cool.
what I'll bring.
I'm
But
I I'm gonna have baby pants and probably something else. We'll see. We'll see. I'll have
um
my wheel with me too, because I have to have Daedalus look at it. So,
yeah, I
yep.
forgot they were going to be there. That's a good opportunity to have them take a look. So,
Yeah, they're hanging out in Jay's booth.
cool.
So, yep.
Okay. Well, if you're going to Wisconsin Sheep and Wool, we
Please
are
say
pretty
hi.
difficult to miss as you like come in the main gate. You
Right
basically
across from
walk
the
right past
bathroom.
us.
Yep.
Yeah, so just a bunch of random people sitting on the grass. So come say hi. Um, but otherwise, we will see you next week.
Bye,
Bye,
y'all.
y'all.